Welcome to the Soulside Talk Show. I'm your host, David J. Dill. This is another episode of Friday Night Fire. So glad you could be with us. This is episode number 8 in the series. Last week I tried to wrap the series up last week, but there's one more issue I need to discuss before we close the series out. This particular episode is dealing with the common core compatibility issues associated with Dr. Albert Einstein's statement. He said that the most important decision we make is whether we believe we live in a hostile or a friendly universe, a friendly or a hostile universe. The one we believe in is the one that we will activate. And he's saying that this is one of the most important decisions in this life. So, the one thing that I hadn't dealt with in the previous 7 episodes is the compatibility issue it has to do with relationships. Because, and it doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. It could be husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, employer, employee, business partners, friends, neighbors, family, it doesn't matter. Whoever you're dealing with on a regular day-to-day basis or in a frequent basis like that, at an intimate level, a close level, whether the person believes in a hostile or friendly universe matters. Whether you believe in a hostile or a friendly universe matters. It really matters, because if you're believing for a friendly universe, let's say you're believing for a friendly universe scenarios. Let's say you're like me and you've made the decision that you want to see friendly universe scenarios as much as possible in your life, and you're sick and tired, you don't want nothing else to do with the hostile universe. Okay, if you've made this decision and you begin to do the work towards making that happen, right? And if your partner or your friend or your family member or whoever it is that you're dealing with, if they haven't made that decision, if they're not dedicated to it the way you are, okay, you're going to start getting different results in life. Now, let's say you both agreed. Let's say you both agree on the purpose of your relationship. Let's say you both agree on even certain truths about these principles that we're talking about, activating what we believe, thoughts becoming things in this world, living in an attraction-based universe, getting what we think about, whether we want it or not, being the creators of our own experiences. Let's say we agree on these things, right? Just because you agree on certain things, that is not the same as belief. Okay, we discussed this in a previous episode. If you'll look into our previous episodes, we discussed the fact that beliefs are thoughts that are practiced. Okay, that's what a belief is. And if you think about a thing long enough and repeat that, you practice that thought long enough, it'll become a belief. If you practice that belief long enough, it'll become a stronghold. I discussed in a previous episode the fact that strongholds in and of themselves are not negative or positive. It's the content of that stronghold. In other words, whatever the thought was it based on something positive or was it based on something negative? See, these are how our thoughts become things. These are how our thoughts form beliefs and then strongholds. We understand that there are feelings associated with each thought that we think. And we understand that if we practice these thoughts long enough, that the attraction-based universe we live in picks up on the feelings, our vibration, what we're vibrating out, it picks up on that and returns the physical version of what we're vibrating back to us. Okay, we discussed these principles in the previous episodes. And so if one partner is understanding that, hey, I want this friendly universe. I want everything it's got to bring. I'm tired of the hostile universe. And so the one partner decides that they're going to put the work in and they're going to make themselves happy on purpose. They're going to find things to be happy about. and appreciate, and they're going to set intentions for the universe to show them good things all day long, every day, because they're believing in a friendly universe. They're doing the work of, they're practicing those thoughts about the friendly universe. And don't fool around and get results too. See, because once you start getting the results of doing that, you want to keep doing it because you see it's working, right? Now, if your partner or if somebody you're close to, or if that individual, even though they agreed on the purpose of the relationship, even though they agreed that thoughts become things in this world, we live in an attraction-based universe, even if they say they agree in the law of attraction, but they don't actually practice the implications of what that means, and they're still focusing on negative, hostile universe realities and responding to those things as if they're real. And if they're not putting the work in the same way the other partner is, you've got what's known as a common core compatibility issue, and it will make a difference in your ability to co-create with that individual. See, and if the rift becomes too big, then what will happen is you become a vibrational mismatch to each other. See, that's just natural. It's not personal, it's not business. It's a matter of law. That's what it is. You're talking about scientific principles, all right? You're talking about universal laws, eternal laws that are in place. And if one person has made up the decision in their mind that they're going to use those principles to their greatest benefit that they possibly can, and if the other person, even though they know about those principles, if they don't put the work in, you are on separate paths. That's what you're on. You're on separate paths. So just understand that in this particular subject matter, because it does matter how another person thinks. Well, first of all, what matters is how you think and what you believe, the thoughts that you practice, because those are the thoughts you're going to activate. And if you see somebody else is more caught up in what they don't like and don't want, while you're trying to be more caught up in what you do like and what you do want, just understand that, it's okay to allow that person to believe the way they want to believe, okay? They'll figure it out later. You ain't even got to try to make them see it. You can't make them see it, and it's not your job to make them see it. You might have a conversation or two about it or whatever, but it's not your job to save the world. The only portion of this world that you can deal with is yours. Your portion of your sphere of influence, what you got going on in your world. See, because for as many different people there are on the planet, that's how many different worlds exist here at the exact same time. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, live and let live. There is a law that I want to talk to you about real briefly before I close this episode out. It's called the law of allowing. This is something that I hadn't heard of before, but I learned about it over the past week. And since the last episode we had, it had to do with the fact that, in your efforts to receive all of the good things that you've been asking for, in order for you to allow those things to happen to you, all you have to do is focus your mind on them, believe for them, and expect them. And I mean expect them as if, hey, look, this is supposed to happen. You recognize the Lord said, ask and it is given. You know that it can't be given without it being prepared. So it's ready to go. And it's just a matter of arriving. It's just a matter of it's arriving. And so you're allowing the flow of well-being into your life to bring all of the friendly universe scenarios that you want to see happen next, right? So in the process of you allowing yourself to be the best version of yourself, to receive the best of the best that this life has to offer, you're also going to have to allow others to believe the way they want to believe. They have the same 24 hours in a day. They have the same opportunity to utilize these principles for their benefit and to minimize detrimental things happening to them, you see. And so you don't have to make them believe like you believe, but you can be a leader by the clarity of your example. You understand? And be as happy as you can be. All right? So this is about living your best life and understanding if you're going to get with somebody about any particular thing in this life. I'm talking about if you've made a decision to co-create with anybody, whether it be in business, whether it be personal relationship, whatever the purpose of that co-creation is going to be, you need to know that one thing about them. You know that there's a difference between believing in a hostile universe and a friendly universe. You want to know that about them as well. What do they believe? And then not just agree on the principles. Do they actually practice those thoughts? And are they expecting the results of practicing those thoughts? You see, those are some things you definitely want to know, because every relationship that ends in a mismatch, it must have what? It must have started as one. So the question is, what did I miss in the beginning? That's the question I began asking. So I wanted to know more about compatibility at the beginning of a relationship. See, because these are the things we want to know. If you're able to determine the compatibility of your relationship at the beginning, you can get an idea of how far you'll be able to walk together. Is that all right? David J. Dill, I'm host of the Soulside Talk Show, and I thank you for joining me on today. Hopefully you'll join us again for another episode of Friday Night Fire. All right? Y'all take care.